Hello guys, sorry my phone completely collapsed on me then. My apps disappeared and my phone completely crashed. But I'll just come on because I wasn't going to, but the end of the film is on now. And I was just watching back the live, and obviously because it cuts out I don't get to finish on some of my tangents. So and also I need to prepare for tomorrow to make sure I'm taking this direction. But anyway, I wanted to just show you the last dance, and I want to show you it for a reason, because here we go. Showing you this for a reason. You get to see my ugly mug again in a minute. The reason that I wanted to show you that was for quite a few different reasons actually. And one, as you know, I'm a secret dancer. I have a body that doesn't quite cut it at the moment, and I don't know if it ever will. But two, because I just want to finish on something I was saying earlier on. And that is that in order to do that performance, and I posted something out, I think it was this week or last week, I think it might have even been about Beyonce, and that she performed for 8 months. She practiced and rehearsed for 8 months to smash one routine. in life, we're not taught really to be the best version of ourselves. What we're taught is to sit up straight and do as we're told. And that isn't necessarily the way to go. In fact, I would urge every single parent out there to take the vocab out from their kids. Don't do this, you can't do that. Because actually what we're doing, I was talking to one of the football coaches at Portsmouth yesterday, and I was saying it'd be better for you guys to get little soccer skills up for under 2-year-olds, because you got more chance of finding that shooter at the age of 2 than you have by the age of 5. And that being that the majority of children by the age of 5 have been conditioned to not touch this, not do that, don't do this, that's going to cause this, and don't do that, and blah, 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 blah. And we've already damaged our children already because we've taken their expression away from them immediately. And the majority of the time that you think children are being naughty, they're actually expressing themselves. And we end up, it's not something, I can't really say I'm really guilty of this actually, because it's been something that I've fought for a long time for my children. And one of the things that I decided with my children is I didn't want them to get to 16, 17, 18 and rebel against everything that I'd said and then have to go out there and discover themselves. I wanted to make sure that by the earliest age possible, I'd found my children's gifts and talents and helped them advance in those. I struggled with raising Liam and Daniel because I raised them to the institution of a Catholic church, and there was conflict with some of their doctrines and my way of doing stuff, and I sort of struggled with the teachers all the way because I was having to fight for my kids to do what they wanted to do. And I know Elijah would probably thrive. I don't know if he'd necessarily thrive, but he would do well in education to a certain level. He'd like the nursery and all of that sort of stuff, but come after that, it would be quite difficult for Elijah. For Shiloh, no go. For Shiloh, I guarantee you, if I put my son through the education system, he'd come out checking car doors and sniffing aerosol cans. And you know, it is something that I watch. Shiloh does walk down and pull every car door as you'll go in. He checks every car door, and if he finds an aerosol can, it would be one of his things. So I know where my son's where he could be easily led astray. But the reason that I wanted to show that the end clip there on Step Up was because in order to perform that was really only about 2 people. That was about the 2 main dancers. But in order to pull that routine off, they needed the producer of the music who created that music. They needed the people from the lights. They needed the stage, the platform. They needed the audience. Within that audience was 2 fellow supporters, mum to the girl and the best friend to the lad, all happy for them to achieve this goal in their life and to go on and do better things. But the good thing about this film is it actually shows you the breakdown as well in when the 2 lads decide enough is enough, and it actually takes for the younger brother to get shot for them to realise that they're living this life of stealing cars and getting into shit and causing problems rather than actually putting it into something constructive. And one of the main things with Agenda 21 and all of that sort of stuff was to bring everybody in line of yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, because they believe that they can control people believing that this is going to lead them to have their own lives in order and to be the people that they want to be. That's not how it works. Success, if you want to describe success, is very messy. It's not this like I was here and now I'm here and it was an amazing journey in between. If you listen, and I'm not talking about success in terms of what car you've got, what house you live in, or what you drive or anything like that. Success to me is doing what you love and doing it when you love to do it with the people that you want to do, and keeping your integrity intact and
living an honest, righteous, true life. And it's not about going and getting a career that you got just because it will please mummy and daddy. It's not about going and being like even Hon was speaking earlier on, and he was saying, like, you know, his parents groomed him to be a doctor, and on his graduation day he's the most miserable person ever, because okay, he's graduated in medicine, but he had no interest in medicine whatsoever. His parents had brought him across to the country, and in their minds, to be a doctor would set their son up for life and would be considered success, and he'd have all of that. But it wasn't who he was. In fact, he's an internet blogger. He works on YouTube. He does videos on YouTube. And he's not a doctor, and he loves what he does out of YouTube and stuff like that, and how to have your own YouTube channel and things like that. But he's not a doctor. And the other reason I wanted to show you that was because sometimes in life we can look at it and we can look out there to this dream but not feel like it's any part of us. And the only reason anyone ever goes to the social care system is because they feel that they need a hand with something, they need help with something, they're battling or struggling with something. And the problem with society that we live in is they like to tease these problems out, and these problems last a lot longer, to the point that it breaks the camel's back, if you know what I mean. And there are quick fixes to things. It's just called changing your perspective and changing your understanding of something. But so as soon as I hear this, I love it. Ready?
That's when I'm in my element, mate. Oh, yes.
Seriously, I love it. Fucking love it. Like, seriously, whether it's a belief system, it's something that I'm going to keep pushing and keep going for within my own things anyway. But why me and Dean argue so much, because I thought Dean was my Channing, mate. I thought that was it. But he's so on his own path at the moment, and he needs to do this. And one of the challenges that we really have is the fact that Dean's other children are alienated from him, and I deal with the projections, the insecurity and the trust issues and all of that sort of side of things. But I actually do understand that he really is going through a battle with this. And he is starting to talk about it, he's starting to bring bits out, he is starting to, you know, rant about a lot of this stuff, and he's got to deal with it in his own way, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, how have I ever been unfaithful? How could I ever be unfaithful? I haven't got time to be unfaithful. So all that stuff comes with it. But we as individuals live with so much insecurity. We're born to this insecurity, and that insecurity comes from, don't do this, you can't do that, don't touch that, don't do this, don't do that. What we should be saying to our kids is, you need to be able to learn to use that before you can do that. And the reason, so like the oven, so to say, like in order to touch the oven, you need to understand that it gets hot and it gets cold, and it's for cooking these things, and you have to learn, you have to be able to stand up and do that. And we can do certain little bits and stuff, and that's great, but there's going to be some rules, and these are the rules. When that light is on, that's hot, so if you touch it, you're going to burn yourself, rather than, no, don't do this, don't touch this. And it might seem like a right bane in the ass to actually have to sit down with our kids and do this, but this is what annoys me. Like these 3 days that I've had off, and I really have had them off, like literally, as I said on my live before it cut out, me and the kids have literally just laid on the sofa. I've had Elijah on knitting and Shiloh laying in my arm, and they've been quite happily just literally tinkering around on the floor or going off into their bedroom. But the majority of the time, they've actually really enjoyed just laying with me. And I spend a lot of time standing up because my kids want to sit down and lay down with me, and I don't have time to do that. And Elijah's 3, so officially, by government standard already, Elijah should have been dropped off to nursery 15 hours already. Yes, that would be good for somebody like me, and nursery is never ever really the problem. Kids play. For me, what the challenge is with nursery is that it's still part of the reporting system that goes on, and my children are not diagnosed with EDS, and also trying to explain to everybody that Shiloh can skateboard, but Shiloh has to be left to do this, and when he falls over, you can't say to him, oh, you don't want to do that again. He's entering into a world and he's choosing to do this himself. He's entering into a world where he's going to have lots of falls. And as a mother, I have to teach him that he's going to get hurt, he's going to scrape his legs, he's going to potentially break a bone, he might fracture his wrist, he might break a leg, he might get twisted up, and actually he could have a really bad injury. But he's got to get back up, and he's going to have to go again, because otherwise there's no point whatsoever of getting into skateboarding, BMXing, or any of them extreme sports. I mean, my uncle's a parachute jumper. He's broken his pelvis 3 times, mate. But he still gets back up in the parachute. My ex-husband wouldn't get a motorbike. And the reason that he wouldn't get a motorbike is not because he didn't love using motorbikes. It's because he knew that if he had an accident on that bike, we didn't have a breadwinner. He knew that he was the main provider for us as a family of 4 at the time, me, Liam and Daniel. And he knew that if he was to fall off his bike, that he wouldn't be able to work and he wouldn't be able to provide for the family. And no way could the family go down to a level such as income support, because he was injured. And he wasn't willing to take that risk. Now, I think that's very sad. We could have got insurance, things like that. There was other ways we could have done it. But he chose not to do that. And now he's probably of an age, I don't know if he ever will get a motorbike, I don't know. He's always knows that he can't risk having an accident. And that's a shame, because you take a lot of other sides of my ex-husband away, because when I met him, he was bungee jumping and all sorts of stuff. So, you know, we get so caught up in, and this is why I've had to take these 3 days and probably even longer, but tomorrow I've got to get up. Tomorrow I promised the boys that we will be at this event. Seriously, Elijah has been winding me up about this event, because as soon as I read that we were having insects and scorpion handling, I was going, no, you will not get me in that room. You will not get me around these things. In fact, even the health visitor texts me to say, was I going next week? And see you there, because she's going to be there. And I said, well, you better be there, because you're safeguarding my kids, because there's no way I will be in that room. And I wouldn't want to deny them this opportunity whatsoever, but I won't be in that room. I will not be handling any scorpions. I have no choice or no determination to change this belief system in me. I am quite happy not liking creepy crawlies, and I have no intentions of ever putting myself in a situation to deal with these level of creepy crawlies, other than maybe backpacking in some countries where I will hopefully have somebody with me that will make sure that these creepy crawlies don't come anywhere near me. And I would be really shit on something like, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, because if they ever put me in a thing with them things coming over me, I don't want mind over matter, mate. I just don't want to fucking be in there. It's as simple as that. If I had to do it for the sake of taking it off one of my children because it was trying to kill one of my children, that would be a very different matter. And I still wouldn't kill the thing, and I would still try to get rid of it as mainly as possible. But I don't like things that move fast. It's as simple as that. I don't like snakes, I don't like insects, and that's it. That's it. Don't like them. It's about the only thing I don't like. And I don't want to learn to love them either. I'm quite happy to know that they exist. I know that they are around. I know that they have some form of purpose, but I don't have to physically choose to be involved in that per se. And this is the problem in life. we accept the things that we really, really don't like. And these last 4 years have been harder than any journey in this since Aaron and Faith were taken. Because when Aaron and Faith were taken, I was free to fight it the way that I wanted to fight it. I was free to deal with it the way that I wanted to deal with it, because it was on my own. I didn't answer to anybody. I didn't have anyone to dictate to me. I didn't have anyone telling me that I couldn't deal with it this way. I didn't have anyone helping me through my ups or my downs. You know, I just literally got up every day and I just went on inspired thought, inspired action. If a name come into my head, I Googled that name. I wanted to find out what that person did. I was on the phone to that person. If all of a sudden a meeting was up, I didn't care if I had to hitchhike, train hop, walk through heavens and earths. I got myself to that meeting. I've been kicked off quite a few trains. Getting to Birmingham was always very difficult. Getting to Birmingham, they are on it, mate. I was always lucky with Michael Cox. If I ever got stuck, Michael Cox always used to bridge the gap on Birmingham trips. And like, seriously, I was just in what I call complete flow. It was very difficult acclimatising to the fact that I've never not had children with me. I've had my children with me since I was 17 years old. So going into being a situation where I could just get up and do stuff without having to go back or stuff was quite a challenge in itself, because I'm so used to taking the kids' stuff out. And also, I didn't want to get caught up in that as well, because the ultimatum was I wanted to come back to being a family. All I've ever wanted is a family of my own. There are memories that I want that take for a family to achieve that. I can't have those memories by myself. It takes for a family. There are things that I want to do that take for a family. All of my life is built up in it being a family. I find being a single mother the most bollocks, horrible thing ever. I hate it, despise it. The only thing good about it is you get to do what you want when you want without anybody saying you got to do this, you got to do that. But you shouldn't be in relationships like that in the first place. You know, and relationships annoy me because they take this role, and for some reason mother stays at home with the kids and dad gets to do what he needs to do, and I really don't like that bullshit. I divorced that for a reason, because mum also has Kelly here that has her own passions and things. And when you're on your own, what I did find is people help you more, because when you're in a partnership, they expect your partner to sort it, but actually your partner's got enough responsibilities anyway, and we're not meant to be on our own. And this is what annoys me. We're not meant to be struggling with our children on our own, having to turn to the services for little silly things, when we are meant to be part of a family dynamic. And the family is so broken now. And, you know, I've had the opportunity and pleasure of speaking to many thousands and hundreds of thousands of families, so I can say this. The 21-year-old virgin getting married to her husband for the first time, and him virgin, is very few and far between. And sometimes, even when it does happen, the wedding is rushed, because the belief systems are that you've got to be in wedlock, and they are rushed to be married. But to have 60, 70-year wedding anniversaries will eventually no longer exist, because the devil done a great trick. He done a great job on convincing women that they're independent women who can do it all by themselves, and we don't need a man. That's the devil, mate. That's the devil. What else has the devil done a great trick on? The devil done a great trick on marriage as a whole. There was a time when it was just about the married couple, and then Henry VIII come along and created the C of E Church. And I'll continue to keep telling you that the C of E Church that we live under here in the Western world is a made-up fucking religion that was created by Henry VIII purely so he could get divorced. That was it. That was all it was. It was just that in Catholicism, they didn't believe in getting divorced, so he created it so you could get divorced. I'm not saying people have to stay in bad marriages. What I'm saying is we as individuals should be living our lives to the fullest potential from day dot, that we are finally coming together with our true twin flame and both running at the same pace, because you haven't got all of that shitty baggage and you're not dealing with all of these broken relationships. You're not dealing with a suitcase full of trust issues and broken trust and all of this sort of stuff. And you know, you're not dealing with, oh my goodness, they've got to meet my mum and my dad, and oh my goodness, my dad's an alcoholic and my mum's a drunk, and you know, all this sort of stuff, because it just wouldn't exist in those sort of worlds. This is the thing about it. That level of depression just would not exist in that level of stability and foundations. And the saddest thing about it is the real consequences is coming from social services, because they're causing such devastation, and the children that they're causing the devastation to are going to the same schools as people that do have normal, quote normal families, which is causing devastation in our education system and the children that are trying to learn, because you only have to have one problem child, and I say problem child, you only have to have one mourning child who's grieving for their parents, to ignite a fire through that entire classroom. And that entire classroom is disturbed. So the children's social care system affects everybody. It affects everybody. It even affects people who just put their kids into school, who have no involvement with social services whatsoever, because come next year, mate, you're all going to have social workers interviewing your kids anyway, because they're going to make it. So it's that's just the way it is. Should schools have counsellors first? That would be a great option first. I'm sure getting 3 or 4 counsellors into a school would be far more productive. You know, and it becoming open that actually we can go and sit and talk about things that are pissing us off, and we can go and have a rant and rave to somebody, and we can leave it at that door with somebody who doesn't share it with anybody else. It's not being taken off into lots of different meetings to go and talk to 5, 6, 7 other people about, maybe even touch hands of nearly up to 40, 50, 60 people, because it's nobody else's fucking business. It's just somewhere you can go, offload and come out. And yes, you've been today, maybe. That's about all that needs to be recorded, because it's meant to be confidential. But unfortunately, the system that we're in now is not confidential, which is why I struggle with this place. And I struggle with this place because I have to deal with probably 20 to 30 council officers on a daily basis before I can even get to my car. And even though they're not always about, it feels very isolating and very trapping in this house. I can get up and walk out this flat whenever I like. I can hand over the keys to this flat whenever I like. But the fact is, if I choose to just literally take what I had when I came in here and get in my car with the kids and just go, fuck it, kids, we are going to go and find our home. And I say, bye-bye, Portsmouth Council. I don't want your fucking council house. And I go off. I'm going to get pulled in. Fact. Now, if I go off and do it in a van, it could be slightly different, because we have living conditions, but we would be classed as gypsies and I would have to register as a gypsy. Now, if I kept this flat and went off and did it in a van until I found it, that's the one avenue that I'm looking at. But I've got to make sure that I can keep the rent and everything going and have an income out there to keep the cars going. So then I'm in benefit fraud. Or I have to register as a company, as a travel blogger, and I can go away in my van with my children as a travel blogger because I have a home address. And that way I can keep the rent and everything going here and make extra money, and it becomes costs and I have to be self-employed. But the only reason that I have to register self-employed is because they want my tax money off of me. So basically, for every £1 that I profit, I can't think what the percent is. I think it works out 22% or something like that. I'd have to double correct myself. So I can't really do this on an odd. So I'd have to remind myself again exactly with tax and national insurance contribution and everything for every pound. In fact, I need to make sure I know this again by tomorrow. So for every pound that somebody earns, how much of that has to be given away? I say not given away because that's not tithing. The Bible says that 10%, so literally 10p from every pound that we make, we should be tithing that to our kingdom. That's what the Bible tells us to do. But the Romans that came along and raped and pillaged us all basically took pretty much all of it. And then we came with a strategy of this is what would happen and this is how this tax system would work. So the only reason that I have to register how I make my money is for tax purposes and tax purposes only. Yes, they sometimes want to check the ethics of it, but if that was the case and we could close down businesses that weren't ethical, then we wouldn't have pawn shops, we wouldn't have tobacco, we wouldn't have alcohol, we wouldn't have a few other things. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have pubs and we wouldn't have clubs that, you know, they're closing down. But like, you know, there's a lot of things that we just wouldn't have if sort of we had this control on nice, happy, positive things versus dull and dungy shit. You know, all that gothic shit would just be thrown out the window. Do you know what I mean? It would be like, boof, go with your demonizing shit. But you know, could we live on cuckoo land? I don't know. But anyway, tomorrow I'm changing direction. And the reason that I'm changing direction is because I find it really challenging. If I run as a proper social media person, that means every day my shop window must be changed to the theme, which means my timelines, profile pictures, branding has to be run in a certain way. The way you run your social media account is ran per the algorithms, blah, 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 blah. You're basically running videos to make sure they get out there. That means I have to be branded and niched up. It also means when I got coppers literally watching my live videos, as I know they do, because the person causing me hassle has kindly sent me my police registration number of her making complaint against me again. So hello coppers who like to have to go through my lives, and if you dare ever make your opinions without coming to me and actually asking questions yet again, one, I will tell you that she's using you to bully me, and if you carry on doing it, I'm going to slam your asses in fucking court, and I look forward to it. I'm getting a lot of strength and mightiness in this going to court stuff. I'm quite happy to use their own system against them at the moment. That's fine by me. But tomorrow I'm taking a very different direction, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I can't just be here feeding people with what you want, and what you want from me is state kidnapping, child abuse, all those things. The majority of what I came here to do is done. You know, Epstein hanging himself was probably the best thing that could have ever have happened to a lot of this movement, because one, it brings more victims the chance to come forward and come out because Epstein's dead. A lot of these women are only going to be interested in getting a percentage of his estate. So I'm not interested in them women. The women who are interested in going for his estate, mate, I wouldn't want his fucking estate. Why would you want something that has had that energy all over it? If I had that estate, mate, it'd be turned into a healing and trauma therapy for what he's done. It should just be burnt, I say, burnt to the fucking ground. Show you just how much all that money and billions of pounds that he's put in his helicopter, his wagon, it should all be burnt. It should be burnt to a crisp. It should be burnt. Burn his fucking house on his island, rebuild it, do what you need to do. But there should be no energy whatsoever of any of that degrading, foul, disgusting behaviour that went on in that aeroplane and to them properties. Burn it to the ground, I say. And if them women are all interested in taking his assets from his home, then I would like to say which ones are telling the truth and which ones are not. Now, the fact is, this shit is going on. I'm not one of these girls. I wasn't there. I don't know what's true, what's not true. We do know that Donald Trump, prior to his property and everything, ran his Miss USA and all of that. He's had a very ground up to seeing how these women are treated. Am I betting on Donald Trump to actually open the can of worms on something that he had no control over back then? Yes, I am. However, did he cut fine to crossing the line? We know because of his Russian bride. It says it all. That's like saying about everybody who supports Yanis. It's his stepdaughter whose child was taken. She was underage. There was a baby conceived. I think that says it. Hence why I don't have anything to do with that network. So, yeah, I've taken. Hello there, Deborah. Oh, have you? Okay. Right, I'm going. I obviously, what you got to remember as well is there's a lot of people, and I'm diagnosed with Asperger's. Whether you want to take the label or the diagnosis or whatever. Me, Kelly, yeah, I get very claustrophobic with lots of people around me. I can't stand cattle marketplaces. I can't go into busy towns with lots of people at one time. I can do controlled events because I know how long they're going to last for. I know what the objective is. I know what the planning and purpose of it is. And I know how to deal with them situations because I know where I'm prime positioned. Say if I was at the NAC, I know where I'm going to be at the door. I high five 5,000 people, but it's of a high energy. It's of a high vibration. People are in a good place. When I'm walking around Portsmouth, a lot of people are in lots of different energies and lots of different places, and I find that very difficult. I find that very, very, very difficult. It pulls me all over the place, and it's like, whoa, 2 seconds, mate. I just got to step out from this a bit. So I do appreciate the people that are here. I do appreciate the people that listen. I do appreciate the people who are here to to support my story, but more so if you're here to learn something or take something from it. I hope I'm talking to people who are currently in that systematic, particularly living in a home you don't want to be in, living a life that you've never really actually ever had the chance to sit there and go, whoa, hang on a minute. And what I will tell you is there is no hobby or interest out there. It's all in here. That, yes, Debbie just said that her son's autistic, so she knows what I mean. A lot of people is a no. It causes meltdowns, man. Meltdowns. You never ever seen me have a proper meltdown. If people actually videoed me, like, so rather that if I was going on in my day and people actually videoed me rather than when I can actually stop and chat, you would see me in a very different light, I think, as well, because you would actually see how I deal with things or how things lead up to particular things rather than me actually having the time to sit down and go da, 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 da. I know sometimes I pick up the camera and I show you what we're doing and things like that, and I'm going to be doing more of that sort of stuff because one, I'm preparing to getting back to being a travel blogger, and I want to sort of stick with, I like getting free tickets to events and stuff just to come along and tell people what I think of it and stuff, and it's quite cool living that way. My boys always loved it. Aaron and Faith always loved it, but like now it's a bit difficult because my phone is fucked, my apps delete, my memory's full. I can't always change timelines on my phone. I have to ask Amber to do stuff. Sometimes I even have to message Amber and say, I can't get on my phone, can you post this? My laptop's shoddy. See, this is it. I love it. Look, seriously. This is what I love. Like, I don't know if you're all screens, but take it now. Like, he can't do what he's got to do. And it's that constant practice I like. It's that constant...
It's that constant practice I like. I love that. I love that whole can't do it, try again, try again, try again, try again. The problem with my body is that I only get one shot, so I don't get to keep trying it again, because if I pull a hip out, I've pulled it out and that's it, and I'm laid up, and it could be for days, weeks, months, years. But anyway, the reason that I do these lives, and the reason that, one, it helps me process it as a Aspie, if that's what you want to call me. It helps me process, it helps me deal with things that are going on in my head, because I spend a lot of time in my head, which is not a good thing to be in. We should be in our hearts. So I keep popping up into my head, and that's not the best thing. I drive with my heart, and I love driving with my heart. All this stuff brings me to calculating it. Now, if I was sitting with everybody's names and I was mapping it all, and I was mapping who I met in so-and-so time, it would be a lot easier. But what you got to remember is I just come on and people comment and things like that. But unless I've had the chance to be with you at an event, and we've gone and got a coffee, or we've had a chance to sit down, or I've been on the phone to you for 3 or 4 hours, it's a bit difficult. In fact, that's just remind me I didn't try another mother again that I was meant to call back. And I'm going to struggle to do it tomorrow as well. Yeah, I just completely lost my thought, because I completely forgot to bring another mother back. I said I would ring back when I got back from the church, and I completely forgot. So yeah, anyway, it helps me do these things. But tomorrow I'm really going to be taking a different turning with this, because one, I need to be coming out talking more about EDS, and the reason that I need to be talking about it is because it's the root for everything with me. It's the root to what judges me. It's the root that means that I end up fucking kicking off with the guys out the front there, because, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that I would have ended up in A&E lifting it, you know, I would have got it down to my storage unit. I'm a very independent, strong woman, so to say, who's quite capable of getting it down there. It's just that in this situation that I'm in right now, there are risks that I can't take. And the reason that I can't take them is because people aren't listening to the fact that I'm in no different situation right now as I was with Aaron and Faith, with Elijah and Shiloh. The situation hasn't fucking changed. And the fact is, if I go out tomorrow with my 2 boys and happen to hold one of these fucking scorpions and it gives me a fucking heart attack and I end up in A&E tomorrow, I still have 2 little boys who can't go in the ambulance. So therefore they have to be left with somebody immediately, and then somebody has to transport those children to the hospital to be with me. But if I've had a heart attack, that's really difficult to do so, because I wouldn't be able to take care of my children at that particular situation. So it would have to then be somebody who can either bring them back to this house, but there isn't anybody who knows this house, so therefore they would then have to be taken by somebody to somebody else's home, and I don't know where that is and who that is, because there's no plan in place, and I don't really know anybody. And it could just be a stranger who just happened to be there as I went to pick up the scorpion and just completely freaked out. Or what happens is some stranger has to ring the police about this child, that then rings social care, and then eventually my children are just neglected through all of this time, and then they might end up with a social worker or a police officer that then finds them a foster care home while I'm laying in hospital wondering where the fuck my kids are. And as a mother, it is right to think about these things. As a mother, it is right to have a plan and strategy for your children in the event of an emergency, because children are left in very vulnerable situations when shit happens, and I have to think about these things because I have a condition that
ultimately puts me in A&E. Now, the only reason it puts me in A&E is because we didn't know what we were dealing with. And every time I've been going to A&E, I then get taken off to the fucking psych wards. So I can't take this risk with my kids. And that was only the problem that I had. That was it. That was it. That was it. That was fucking it. Now, the difference with Elijah and Shiloh, Aaron and Faith, is I had Liam. Now, even the police said that Aaron and Faith could stay with Liam for up to 24 hours at 15. But they eventually said that Liam, blah, 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 blah. But when you are somebody like myself, who is not part of a functional, constructive family and is the flamingo sheep, so to say, who's been in foster care and never had that reunification with their family or that healing, and it still escalates, then you're a very isolated parent. And Dean's family is not, so to say, the supportive to Dean either. So my boys really mess out. Like, even so, Dean's brother and his girlfriend have had a nice time away with their son being looked after by Dean's parents. Do you know what I mean? By his dad and his stepmom. But we don't have that. And my sisters, they will have that. My mum will have her grandchildren, but my children have never had that. So it means that there's this whole missing network where people like me are dependent on paying for childcare or building a network of people. But when you're coming from an Aspie point of view, those networks don't gel in the same way that a neurotypical will. So you don't tend to build those sort of support systems. And this was pretty much what I wanted to talk about. And I'll get back to it, but I'm probably going to float over the next couple of days, because the reason that I took this time out for these 3 days was because I was just burning out. I was just burning at both ends of the candle, and with all the Epstein stuff that was going off with the list, and I've had this list for ages, so I've been really struggling with the content of this list for a long time. In fact, we were given all of this information back in 2013. I was given all this information. I still don't know where all these dots are going to lie. I know full well that I didn't do anything wrong to get my kids taken. There was nothing that I did. I know full well that I can go through that paperwork, and with the right people and the right way of presenting it, I know full well that I can present it to actually show how they've done what they've done. But it's going to take so much work, because in order to do it the way that I need to do it, I need to cross-reference it with their university degrees that they're using. And the reason that I need to do this is take your judgment for starters. Your judgment when you lose your children is a cut and paste from your psychological report and your parental assessment. Your parental assessment is a cut and paste from your psychological report. Your psychological report is a cut and paste from the DSM-5. So when they're talking about you, they're not actually talking about you. They're talking about the diagnosis. And this is where it gets dangerous. Take entitlement. So any person who's in the benefit system comes under entitlement, which brings you under narcissist and grandeur. So I don't really want to get into all this right now, but the challenge is we can get to a point where we've got everybody else's opinions and beliefs all over us. I have had such a hard time this week with Dean, and I feel really sorry for him, because for the first time in 4 years, he's actually tried to explain how he feels coming through this door, rather than it just escalating to the way that it escalates. He's actually really tried to talk to me, but that talking has also been within the consequences of dealing with what I deal with Dean. Dean does not let it out of his head that I haven't been faithful to him. I have 100%. I haven't even had time. Like, seriously, if I'm not on here, if I'm not doing this, you know, I've got the two boys, I've got my own health to deal with, and I'm not exactly around the greatest of companies for any person that I would consider even of dating material right now. But, like, you know, 100%. But his mind is completely locked to the fact that I have been. And he still keeps coming back, even believing it. And even in his mind, he even doubts whether one of the kids is his. And he lives with this. I think he knows it's not true, but actually, I don't think he does. And I've gone through the whole, any person who's accusing you of cheating is cheating themselves and all this sort of stuff. And we've had all this stuff. Sometimes people have just had a really raw deal and been treated like a lot of shit. And he has been. And his boy and his girl, he doesn't really talk about it, and he doesn't really talk. Well, we don't talk about Aaron and Faith per se, because he just tries to get used to it. But he's got used to it before, because it happened to him when he was 17. It happened to him when he was 20. So then he's gone on and he started a new life, and lo and behold, she's gone and done it to him as well. And he is petrified of me doing it to him. Petrified of it. Has been since the day we met. He's always known that this was going to be a fear of his. And I do feel for him trying to talk to me for the first time, but it's very tiring, literally, with not being accused, but having your character just flawed 24/7, flawed 24/7. And people can go, narcissistic, blah, 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 blah. No, sometimes people are just really so damaged that they just need to heal. But I'm now at the point where I've really had to rest after this weekend, because I've been looking after him with his slip discs, you know, trying to get into his doctor's appointment. He's not well. He is struggling with things. It's hard work, because Dean is a walker. He can walk out this door and disappear for days, weeks and months. Do you know what I mean? I am dealing with Dean, as well as many other people, where not everything that everybody says to me is the full truth. And especially when people are starting to talk out on social media, not everybody is as raw and as real as I am, I suppose. And then people want to go, careful, you end up looking nuts. I don't fucking care, mate. Careful, you might start looking sane. You know, so that's what's annoyed me. I've had everybody's opinions and beliefs and things put on me. And, you know, even David's posted it today, you know, money makes money. Nope, that's what they taught the poor people. That you need money to make money. They taught the poor people that, because if the poor people actually realise that you can actually be resourceful, and there is other ways of starting to get yourself out there by leveraging your time, assets, products, all these different ways of doing things, that actually you don't need money to start off with. You need your skill and your tool and your service. That is what they taught the poor people. And I've got to a point as well where I need to be really, really, really careful with some of the belief systems that I could make very concrete right now. And that's because a lot of people have been quite shady around me and giving me half-truths. And what that does to somebody like me is I'll try and connect the dots, yeah? And if you lie to me, then what you do is you cause for me never to believe anything you ever say. And that can even be as, I'll ring you tomorrow at 2. I think, really? They ain't going to ring tomorrow at 2. Or I don't even go there, I just don't push my life into being available at 2 o'clock, because I don't trust you to be there at 2. So I'm not going to put myself out on a limb, because I can't trust your word. For somebody like me, I have to look at somebody and I have to know for sure that the words coming out of their mouths are a truth. And I don't mean a version of the truth, I mean the truth. And that's very difficult right now. And social media makes it really, really difficult for somebody like me because it's not ran the way that I need it to be. Like even now, I'm here on Crackbook. That's not the way somebody like me works. I need to be in my website, and all of these are just tools. They're just tools. It's not my life. It doesn't own me. I don't wake up every morning and go boom, 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 straight into my Crackbook. Unfortunately, the most of the world do now. And one of the reasons that I started all of this in the first place, and now I'm in a bit of a challenge because can I step up and be who I need to be? Well, without Aaron and Faith, no, because I can be the mum who can overcome my grief on a daily basis, but I can never be true because I'm dealing with that grief on a daily basis. When they took Aaron and Faith from me, they took my life away from me too. They changed my whole life. They changed everything. Even when I get up tomorrow, yeah, and I go out with Elijah and Shiloh, that's amazing and it's beautiful and they're beautiful boys, but that's a very separate life for me. That isn't Kelly Cotton up to 35. That is Kelly Cotton that occurred 4 years ago, and this is the smallest chapter of my whole 41 years here on this planet. But these last 4 years have been the most controlled, the most bullied, the most attempting to intimidate, the most I would say that right now I've come right into the core of how it feels to live in council, being on benefits, living with the system around you. Now, most places don't have the system around them the way I have right now. I am smack bang in the middle of it with the council office right out the front. The majority of estates only maybe have a community hub. You know, they see the police going through, but they don't have the police station on their fucking doorstep. And even the fire brigade is on my doorstep. So I've got the fire brigade here. So literally the fire station is there. The temporary police station is next to the fire station. So that's there. That's like literally just there on that side of my house. The police station is currently there, like literally in front of my finger there. Which is being moved, and then the courts are across literally through those two trees. The courts and everything are there, the council office and town hall. So I have it like major wrapped round me, like totally wrapped round me, and I'm like so in it that when you're walking around, you don't know who's who, who's what, what's what, whatever. You know, it could just be your shopkeeper, but it might be your local judge, but it could be the police officer, and it could be the social worker. It could be a care officer. It could be, you know, whatever. It could be a nurse. It could be a doctor. This shouldn't be a problem. But to somebody like me, it is. And that reason is because it's all this self-reporting stuff all the fucking time. And that's what I've decided, that I need to take a rest, because I allowed for them to just go with it. I brought some, I wasn't even going to push my back, because I knew the moment I picked that glass shelf up, I knew the moment I lifted it out there in the first place, I knew not to lift that fucking shelf. One, it was difficult on my fingers, and I hurt my fingers and my ulners and stuff like that. Pulled my back out, I did my knees. I knew even by moving that into this hallway again, that I wasn't going to be able to then get out and about tomorrow. So I've had 3 days. I've got a long day tomorrow, long day Saturday, very long day Saturday, long walk. I really could do with a bike and a thing for the boys for Saturday. That would be really, really, really handy. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about doing this on my doorstep, but it should be interesting. But I do think it's about time that Portsmouth took a few things seriously. So, yeah, let's get the pressure on. I'm not necessarily getting the pressure on the way that everybody else is getting the pressure on. But I think my presence should be known on Saturday. And I'm hoping that a couple of them that are local to here might even come along just to get the experience and see how easy it is to do it for another cause. It's not that I stand with the cause, but I stand with their training. It's good training, especially if you've never done anything like this before. Yeah, it's a difficult one taking direct action because it's no different than putting on your soldier uniform and going out to war. Sometimes, you know what I mean. You're putting yourself in the line of fire to be arrested. So, but anyway, I'm absolutely knackered. I have just taken 3 days, apart from my rant today, which got me off my sofa, and banging on my door the day before pissed me off and put me in a state of anxiety. But it proves my point, and this is where I'm going to be going with it in the next couple of weeks. And I'm probably going to be talking about some little gaps in my life where people don't necessarily see where I have challenges. Like, if you follow me around, you'll see that I'll only push a trolley right. I don't turn left with a trolley. And the reason that I don't turn left with a trolley, or try not to turn left, is because it bolts my right knee out. Whereas when I turn right, it's slightly different, or I grab the back of the trolley. And I'm going to be talking more about how us EDSers can't overcome certain things. And it's not going to be me going, oh, out, I've done my back in, or I've done this. It's just little silly things like undoing jars, or like you won't see some of the things that we compensate in, or like to do my kids' shoelaces up, how I accommodate to be able to do these normal little things that people don't realise. And also, I've said to you on numerous occasions, you know, my knees being out like this is not for fashion. I like it and it's great, but there is a functional use to this, and that is that I spend a lot of time putting my knees down. And what happens is when you get your jeans wet, just putting your knees down on the floor and stuff like that, it causes a lot of damage to my legs. And there's a couple of other reasons around it as well, but yeah, it's all to do with my knees. So, and I need knee braces on. So anyway, I'm starting to waffle now. I think I've said what I needed to say. I said a lot of it in the first video actually, but I just wanted to say that, you know, building dreams takes a team of people, and we as individuals cannot be alone. We're not born to be alone. We're not. My boys have really benefited from 3 days of cuddling with mummy, and we literally have just cuddled. We've just laid on the sofa and we've just talked and we've just cuddled, and we've been able to fall asleep together. We've been able to wake up together, and our kids are kicked into nursery and into school so fucking damn quickly that we don't get the time anymore to just cuddle with our kids. We don't have time to just cuddle with our kids because we're either off out working, and okay, if you're lucky enough to be, and I shouldn't even say lucky, because if you're in the benefit system, it's not lucky. You're living a life that is so less than what you deserve. Like, seriously, being in the benefit system will never ever give you the freedom, and never ever will it ever give you the lifestyle that you deserve as an individual. Never will it. Never will you have the freedom of choice, ever. You will always live the life that you were given, because you will always live to probably, maybe not even paying your bills, but accumulating debt coming on you on a daily basis that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and worse. Or you'll just scrape by paying your bills. And to get, I shouldn't say meat, but, you know, to get some meat for Sunday dinner, you know, is a bit of a luxury, where that should be a necessity. It should be a daily necessity. and you will never, ever, ever fulfill all of your dreams and passions, ever. Most people will never drive. Most people will never own a passport if you live 100% in that world. And most people will never, ever actually truly know who they really are from that world. And it's exactly the same to the middle class that have got up to go and get a job, to be part of the rat race that is the employment racket that is causing the injury and harm to us all in the first place. Our world really is upside down right now, and it's up to us to change it. And rioting and protesting and all that stuff isn't the way to change it. The way to change it is to wake up into your true sovereign being and be your true self in your true freedom, and to be happy. We really don't like happiness. To be happy, to actually be truly, genuinely happy and contented with your life. And I mean really, truly contented. And that doesn't matter about what might be before, what might have been, what could happen, what might happen, what should happen, whether or not you're going to do something tomorrow or not. It's just a real, true, genuine state of joy, peace and harmony. And to achieve that place and discipline in yourself takes from having a lot of self-love, a lot of self-control, and to really know who you are, so you can't be battered around the place. Life's a bit difficult for me because of this fucking damn body of mine. And can I kick it? Can I finally ever kick this condition out of me? I hope, for fucking Christ's sake, I can. I hope Jesus heals. I hope that it's all to do with my root fucking child abuse. I hope that there's a genetic freaking reason behind it. I hope it's down to some vitamin deficiency that doesn't exist. You know, I hope and pray every day that there is a reason where I could actually overcome this condition altogether and reproduce all my genes. And every day I will continue to work on it. The doctors say no. I've never been one to known to listen to doctors who, the majority of doctors are just people that have gone and got a job because daddy and mummy thought it was a great idea. And you very, 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 very rare do you ever actually find a doctor. You do find them, and when you do, you hold on to that fucking doctor. You don't let them go. But like very, 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 very rare do you ever find a doctor who either themselves or a family member had this condition and they got onto a fucking mass freaking research because they wanted to get to the bottom of it, and they dedicated their entire life to help people in this. They're few and far between, them doctors. The majority of doctors exist because it was a doctor, solicitor, barrister, and that's pretty much it. Not many people want their children to grow up to be the policemen, the nurses, the care coordinators. The majority of the elite family want their children to be the doctors, solicitors and the barristers. Do you know what I mean? Because that is success in their world. That is what is deemed as success. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go on the path again. It's going to be a bit difficult because I've got a network of people around me who aren't coaches. So there's going to be a lot of you who don't understand what I'm talking about. There's going to be a lot of what's called cognitive dissonance for a lot of people when a lot of this stuff starts coming out even more. Not everybody reads the papers or watches mainstream or knows it's going on, but the fact is, the fact that 5% of our world is governed by paedophiles and the sexualization is going to cause an uproar soon. It's going to have to cause an uproar. With the case that's come out today, with the actress that's had her baby taken, and she has blatantly called them state kidnappers. And also, actually, one of the tweets has gone out in the papers. Somebody had got on there and tweeted, and they've actually talked about Cash for Kids. So straight away, that information is out there now. So we get more Googleable. I've been ranting today that at the end of the day, I'm a gagged mum trying to break a story. Not because I want the world to know, but because I want Aaron and Faith home, and the world do need to know that they did this, and they do need to know that they're doing it to many other families. And at the end of the day, if I'd done something wrong, mate, they wouldn't need to gag me, do you know what I mean? Because I'd go and crawl into my little hole of shame and embarrassment and be in prison, do you know what I mean? But the fact is, I haven't done anything wrong. They wanted my kids, they got my kids, and I'm hoping my kids are alive. I pray every day my kids are alive and well. Chances are one of our kids out there isn't. And of course Jonas will never get to see his mum again, as many of foster care children have not made it through the foster care system. Some of them, it's been stupid things. Some of them have been killed in car crashes and never made it to contact. My own 2 children were in a car accident. So yeah, seriously, I'm obsessed, mate, like obsessed. I might actually show you one day some bits of dancing. I know there's a couple of videos out there of me pissing about, but that's nothing. That's just me, that was literally my neighbour, like, put on a couple of songs and I just pissed about, and she was like videoing it, and I really was just pissing about. I just get annoyed that there's one thing that I just can't do because of my knees and my legs, and it's like gymnastics. If you don't meet certain points and you can't meet them points, you can't do them, and my legs just won't slightly. I don't know if they could with training. I've never had that level of support to be able to do this, so who knows. So anyway, I'm going to come off because I'm rambling and I want to go to bed. In fact, I don't want to go to bed. I was going to zong here. It's so nice having my sofa back. My son's had my sofa. I don't actually sleep in bed. It's very, very rare you'll ever catch me in bed. I always sleep on my sofa. I have done for a long time. Even when I've got my own bedroom, I still only sleep on the sofa. So yeah, I'm going to go. Been a really, we're not at the end of the week yet, so I can't analyse this week yet, but it's been a really strange, heavy week. It's been a bit of a crazy week, and I'm going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to do this on Saturday, and then see where things are on Sunday, because I can't get arrested on Saturday. It's as simple as that. I can't get arrested. Like, I have to bow out of anything that's arrestable. Because I've got the boys, and it's no different than me going into A&E. If I was arrested, the moment that I'm restrained, I'm in exactly the same situation that I was in out there, that my children get detained and they get taken and they go into a system that I can't get them out of, or I've got to fucking go and kill people to get them out of it. And I don't want to kill people. I don't want to cross that line and become a murderer. And I don't want to be pushed to the limits to find out whether or not I could cross that path, because I've had way too much done to me now, way too much done to me, and especially these last 4 years. And even with today, you know, even with Barclays Bank cancelling the direct debit on my car tax, you know, now I've got to get back in contact with these people and sort them out, and I can't take my car out until I know what's going on, blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, you know, I didn't cancel my fucking direct debit, and it's really annoying because I might just be dealing with incompetence, because I did ask them to sort out an iTunes thing that I had got. It was an app for graphing, and it not for graphing, for doing all the graph stuff. But it charges me every month, and it didn't say that on the tin. So I did ask them to do that. So they've either done the wrong one again. This is like social services. That even though they took Aaron and Faith, they shut down Liam and Faith's doctor's surgery. That's what I'm saying. It's these little bits of incompetence. But is it incompetence? The fact that I have to go into the glass house at the job centre. The fact that I come back from London after protesting and got pulled into a meeting to just hand over my ID in the first place. That then led to me now having to go back in the glass house again. The fact that they keep housing here, keep putting on reports to have my benefits shut down or housing shut down. I'll keep going through this. Now it's universal credits. Luckily, there's been no suspension on my universal credits as yet. And universal credits seem to be holding in a bit longer here for some reason. It's quite interesting. I'm wondering if it slides over to a different system somehow, but and it's not been added up, because it's little silly stupid things that keep happening. Like I said, complaint, feeding pigeons. Really, you're dealing with a real life here, a real genuine life, a real human being. Do you know what? I've got skin and everything, and there's a heart in here, and there's a soul and everything with me, and I'm very vulnerable enough as it is without having these ridiculous ways of bullying me. And that's what they do to people like me who put their head above the parapet. They do what's called black marking you. So that means you're locked down on so many things. You're lucky you can even actually claim benefits if you're black marked. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to shoot off. I'm pretty much just say, be you, yeah? And I don't mean you that you've come to know. I mean, really get to know you. Like, do you like pottery? Do you like to help people? Do you love cooking? Do you love dancing? Do you like making things? Like, and I say this again, go and try something that you've never done before and really start putting yourself into some form of discipline to go, right, I really want to be able to master this. Okay, it might take me 6 months, it might take me 6 fucking years, but I'm going to master it. It's as simple as that. And have fun with it. Like, seriously, just live. Just live. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a solicitor. You don't have to be what is it? Before I go, hi, I'm Kelly Cottam. I am. You don't have to be. I am anything. Just be. Just exist. That person might like painting. Might like to listen to a bit of music. Might like this, and ultimately, then you can build your making money around that, and it works. So I'm going to have to start getting back to that myself because I need to really start bringing money into my life. And what is it? No different than the sofa I'm sat on. We're just going to have credit cards soon. We won't even have cash. They're getting rid of cash altogether, mate. And yes, that's going to be a bit of a struggle because then they're going to advance to the chip, and I don't want to be chipped. So I assume most people don't want to be chipped. A lot of people are quite happy to be chipped. They've got you so ingrained into this technology that a lot of people are quite happy to move to this sort of stuff. And that's all great, but it won't be great when they shut you down, mate. And you can't do anything, eat shit, nothing. So don't forget, we're moving into a different type of world. There are people in this universe right now who are living in homes that are way beyond anything that you've ever seen, and we are not even anywhere near the ways of that right now. People are getting excited about Alexis. Like, seriously, there's people that have had these systems in their homes for fucking donkey's years, 20, 30 years, mate. Don't think that technology is new. It's far from new. In fact, we've been watching films like Terminator and all those things for years that have been showing you that this tools and equipment already exist. What will be interesting is the Area 51, sorry, music festival that's going to happen. That's going to be interesting. I was certainly going to watch how that's going to go ahead. They're not storming Area 51 now. They're going to have they're going to have a festival. So, yeah. But anyway, it's fucking late. It's absolutely ridiculous. The problem with social media is it completely kicks you out of your normal time frame because it's continuous. It's an open shop 24/7. There's a different, someone's waking up as someone's going to sleep. A new feed comes in, blah, 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 blah. And it's so difficult to do. And one of those things that I'm doing is I'm bringing myself, yes, into the ways of the world, but I need to be on a UK, England time loop at the moment, I think. So yeah, so anyway, I've got to go down to the fountain tomorrow. I might do a live with you down there. A little bit dubious, and I'm not going to say anything here because there's a couple of people following me within these networks. But I've been watching some of these people who run these homeless kitchens, and I just don't feel that they're as genuine as they should be, and actually it's just feeding their own homes and communities. But time will tell. It'd be interesting. Got to be careful as well, because once you piss somebody off in a place like this, it can go anywhere and everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So gossip is gossip. One of the worst things that ever existed. That's the bane of our lives, really, and why the Bible says not to do it. So anyway, I am absolutely. So it's been great. My house has stayed so tidy. Like, seriously, no Dean, no Liam. Nobody stressing out my little systems and how to do things and what I like. Nobody going and cooking and causing an avalanche in the kitchen and expecting me to tidy it up. No loads of shit all over the floor, because the boys have been quite happy just sitting with mum, and we've had our food and stuff like that. We've been out for a tea. And yeah, it's been really nice, to be honest. Miss Dean, love Dean, but at the end of the day, for as long as he believes in his own mind, I have been unfaithful. Like I said to him, you will always look at me as a whore. You will never ever look at me as the woman that I am, who loves and adores you and does anything and everything for you if you wanted it. You will always look at me as someone you can't trust. And that makes it very difficult, because we can never have the relationship that we should have for as long as that is his belief system. Where he gets that belief system from, that's another thing. Is it a conversation with the devil? Is it people putting shit into his head that he doesn't know whether to believe or not? Is it his own insecurities that he's projecting? Or is it his own guilt that he's projecting? I don't know. And this is where I can't make any belief systems right now in my life, which is why I've given myself this entire month off, rest of this month, and literally for September I want to start. And again, that is still me institutionalised in myself, because the reason that I start in September is because that's when the education calendar starts. So I might mix it up slightly and start in the middle of October, who knows. But September, I will be kicking off in September. And the reason that I'll be kicking off in September is Parliament comes back to school. It's a new school year. We, the little mortal students out here, have got a new headmaster. They are hoping that they're going to still pitch it and there's going to be a recount, but we will know for sure 100% who our Prime Minister is going to be to take us through. People assume that it's Boris, because they're saying it's Boris, but it's one of those things that once it comes to the 3rd of September, anything can happen and the fight will begin and blah 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 blah, even though the general election isn't until 2020. I think it's 2020, the general election. So actually we've just wasted the last few years having no prime minister, really. Them all just fucking about over this, and we've lost a lot of time, do you know what I mean? So we, the human beings, cannot put our faith in government and all these structures. We have to put our faith in the Lord. We have to trust that Mother Earth is working in co-symbioticness. We have to trust that, yes, we are damaging the planet, but at the end of the day, Mother Earth will kick us off this planet. The Heavenly Father will flood this planet and kill us mortals before we ever damage this planet. Which is why, as you know, and I say it all the time, I don't agree with some of the stuff. They're only going by science. I'm going by science, reason, and the Lord's way of doing things. So there is a way beyond science. Science is only proving what we can see to the eye, and science can only prove what a microscope can teach you. But there are nano microscopes. The energy that exists is way beyond any microscope. And the parallel universes that we live in, 33 fucking dimensions already above us, and that's just the ones that we've already discovered. So fuck, like, where this stuff can go even further. So science will always be 10-20 years behind us anyway, so science will catch up one day. They're still trying to prove the God gene, do you know what I mean? Science will one day catch up, you know. Science is a great thing, an amazing thing, a very beautiful thing. And yes, we are in great change. But that change has to be within us. And we have to make this change. We have to go back to our own true DNA, to our own bloodlines, and we have to start there. We have to start by healing ourselves, healing our own families, healing the communities that are around us. And then from there, if each individual of us does that, well, that ripple is causing waves already. You know, if every single one of us that is connected to this whole network that goes on, that listens to me ramble and speak, all teach our children to protect their heart, minds, and souls. And for us, the adults, to take back our heart, minds, and souls and put our own true identity back intact again and be who it is. And it's not always easy to push, because sometimes the thing that scares you the most is where you got to go. It's that one thing that you really want to do and you're just worried so fucking much what people are going to think or how people are going to perceive it. That's where you got to go. That's where you got to go. It's right out your comfort zone. It's the place that you got to make great fucking changes within your own disciplines and selves to even be able to achieve it. Because if it was easy, that, you know, it wouldn't make it so great. Do you know what I mean? So we've all got that one thing inside us. We've all got a few things inside us, but we've all got that one real burning desire to do something. It fucking wakes us up at, you know, early in the morning. It freaking sits on us all night, late at night. Every single one of you that's sitting up at this time of night has got some form of creativity going on that you know. And I trust me with this as well. The quicker we step into our own true identity, the quicker we're going to bring our kids back as well. And the quicker our kids will want to come back to us, because they've had this image painted of who we are. We have to completely break that. Our children have to look at us and go, they lied to me. My mum isn't that. My dad isn't that. My family isn't that. In fact, actually, I've really missed out. I could have had so much fun with my family. And actually, I really enjoy looking, and I'm really looking forward to meeting my family. I've seen their crack books and their social media accounts, and I've seen what they get up to, because that's how they'll find you first. They'll find you first through your social media and then following you. But they will find us, but that's how they'll find us first. And you want them to look at that social media account and go, yeah, like, that's my life. That's my family. That's my mum. That's my dad. That's my life. That's where I belong. That's where I fit in. Now it makes sense why I like doing these things. Oh, yeah, I'll get that from my mum. Oh, yeah, see, my dad's well into his cars, mate. Yeah, freak, that's where I get it from. Do you know what I mean? And that's what our kids need to see. They did a fucking good job at breaking us. They did a fucking good job at completely smashing our confidence, our self-respect, our self-esteem, our reputation. They took away us being able to live a normal functioning life. And people did that when they did stuff to us as kids as well. And we have to take that back. We have to take that power back that they took from us. And you can't take someone's power. You can only let people, you can give it away. That's different. But we have to take that back. Each of us all have to take that back. If you're sitting here, you have to take that back. You're here to take that back. And the only people you have to worry about is the Lord who's watching you, Mother Earth who will clear the way for you, yourself, to honour your mother and father. Whatever you fucking think of them, they gave you life. Try to find some good in your mother and father, even if it is just the fact that they no longer talk to you, and it is a blessing. But I love my mum and dad. I'm not here to judge people's mums and dads. Just sometimes people have had harder lives with their mums and dads than mine, and it's not easy to honour that. And your children, and your family, and your friends, and your community. And nothing else really beyond that matters. That's where it all starts. That's where it all is going to begin. That's where it all is going to come together. And yes, we're not always going to get on with our family members, and yes, our family members aren't always going to get us, But if we all actually sat down and said, look, we might not all get on, and we might all be different, and we might all be struggling with different things, but actually as a family we want to come together and we want to help each other be the people that they should be. And actually, how many people have ever actually sat down with their families and say, yeah, see, even Amber is saying the stage, see, this is why I'm hard on Amber, because Amber isn't meant to be in here doing all of this stuff. Amber is meant to be putting together Amber's pictures, Amber's timeline, and doing her fucking open mic stuff. That's where Amber is meant to be. Amber is not meant to be in here doing all this stuff on a daily basis. Amber is meant to be designing her timeline for her music and getting her singing done, because that's where Amber is in her thrivey best. And if Amber was doing that, then yes, she probably could throw a couple of hours here and there to help a charity or a cause. But right now, being on the mic is probably the best place for Amber with her poetry, because she can get out this particular message far wider and far bigger through her poetry and her music. So that's where Amber needs to be. So Amber needs to be doing her open mic nights and her performing and her that side of her, and losing her weight and being healthy, because she can't feed. She needs to stop this. So yeah. So yeah, if we could all do that, that would be amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like seriously, we could really, 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 really make a big difference. So anyway, I am going to rest because I've got a big day tomorrow and I've got a big day Saturday. It's just that I like to end chapters and get things off my head and off my mind to be able to start a new chapter. And as I've said to you all, when I wake up tomorrow, I don't wake up the same person. You're not meeting the same person when I wake up in the morning. It's a new day. We've got a whole new 24 hours. We can do whatever we want with them 24 hours. We can get on a fucking plane and go and fly to Australia in 24 hours if you really wanted. By the way, Australia was where the fucking first ever Agenda 21 was signed. So Australia agreed to go to bed with America, and then America, and I don't actually know whether England ever signed. That's what I'm just about to find out. So I need to find out every single person who got into bed with this Agenda 21 back all those years ago. Seriously, now that's what makes me buzz. Look. Oh, seriously, missed it. Hang on, is she gonna go again? Yes. I spend fucking hours doing all this shit on my own, by the way. Like, love it. Absolutely love it. It's just that my physical body just can't go to some of these levels. It probably could if I trained enough, but that's where I'm going. So anyway, I'm going to fuck off because I'm going to keep talking. So anyway, Amber, now you are completely and utterly fired. And unless I see, you can still upload some videos, but unless I see your staff working towards your open mic stuff and your poetry, I'm going to refuse to speak to you. It's as simple as that. Bye.